Hello YouTube, and welcome to an updated tutorial on quick scanning. I made a Ninja Rats scanning video about 4 to 5 years ago, and I got quite a bit of views, but a lot's changed in the EVE Online world, and the way things work are greatly different, with a lot of improvements, and some mechanics that are just different. So I'm about to undock and show you guys some ways to do some really quick scanning. And also, you can do this in a Tech 1 standard frigate, like a Heron or Imicus, which are the best ones. Um, what I would probably recommend also is doing this while cloaked if you're in null security space, or if you're doing this in a wormhole. Um, because I just want to explain some of the general mechanics of the way scanning works, and some things that people probably overlook, or something just for the new players. So I'm going to undock. It looks like the system it looks like it's clear. And if it isn't clear at all, then you will see me have to use my cloak. Okay. So I'm just going to do a video just to show you how you can literally scan almost anything down other than the lowest bandwidth, which are superior sleeper sites and secure data sites, which don't spawn immediate rats, but they do spawn sentry drones and rats that do damage to you, which I didn't even know they existed until I found one, and boy did I have to warp the hell out of there in my Imicus. I just got my Astros today. I wanted to have something with a little bit more hacking power and something that could make a little bit more ISK per hour, because when you're in a wormhole or in your null security space, you have to be able to be constantly aware of your surroundings. You have to be using the D-scan, you have to be looking for probes in the D-scan, because there are a lot of people who cloak who are smart. There's nothing in this system. Kinda sucks. There might be something in Jeeve. I am located in Providence. That is the null security space I do, because I was invited here by one of the CEOs of a corporation that resides down here. I was doing high security wormholes. The only problem is you're going to have a high risk of getting ganked. And, you know, this is just a general probing tutorial, because there are a lot of people that like to prefer to do combat sites, or, well, there's pretty much only combat sites, wormholes, and sites for relic and data. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to do one of those three things. I know some people do the wormhole sites just to sell the locations. So I don't know, but I don't really do that. I just go into everything that I scan. But also, the Astros is kind of expensive. It's 100 million in Rens, and in Amar it's like 70 million. However, you can get lucky like I did and go to Jita, and in Jita you can find them as low as 50, 60 million. And there's still nothing here. Yeah, it's crazy. There's no anomalies. So, I guess a little bit more background as well. So, if you're starting out, depending on what your purpose is, you're going to want to use a faction ship like an Astros or a Stratos, or you're going to want to use a T2 or a T3. Now, I would say T3 with paired with a mobile depot would be best if you want to do combat sites with relic containers in them, especially in wormholes, because that's pretty much the only place you can find combat data and relic sites. However, you can find data and relic sites in null security that will spawn aggression when you hack a container, such as the secured sites, which I think a lot of people... Oh, here we go. So what you do go to a planet. This is, you know, if you're in null sec or low sec. Go to a planet. Go anywhere from 30 to 70 kilometers. Don't go in the middle. Don't go on the end. Don't go at 0 because it'll be easier for people to bump you and then decloak you. Another thing to be even more safe is go at a distance, turn on your micro warp drive and put your feet at full thrust and burn out some distance. I've gone as ballsy when there's reds in the system, and I've gone out to like 300 kilometers away from a planet, just so I know for 100% there is no chance anyone is going to descan me down. So I'm going to do that now for the sake of this video. I'm going to leave this on for, oh shit, I'm getting really close to that. How about I'm going to align to this when I go. Because you don't want to be close to anything. You want to be as far away from things as you possibly can. Because the closer you are to anything in particular, the higher the chances you have of someone bumping into you. Another thing too is when you find an actual site, or if you go into a combat, anything, and you're using a ship that can be cloaked like a covert ops or a faction ship, always go in at a distance, 10, 20 kilometers away from the actual stuff, because people can drop cargo containers, or they can have drones spinning around in a location, and it can decloak you. And if they're trying to, and the only reason they would be doing that is if they're looking for gankers or they're looking to gank somebody. Another thing to look out for is when you're scanning and you found a site, you should be the one to drop containers. Because if you drop containers, you can find anybody who's trying to get you. So I should be able to do this site, and I'm going to ignore other results. It also helps you kind of narrow one site down very quick. I should be able to do this in 2 to 4 scans. So this is the first scan. Let's see where it goes. Now, if it's a low bandwidth, it'll probably take me for, I dare say, 5 scans. But the point of this is to show it quick. So a quick thing, double-click this, double-click the name. It'll align you perfectly to the signature. Then what you do is you just drag the arrows, because it's nothing like it used to be in the old days when I made my first one. Another thing to look out for is do side view and top view for the alignment, and always do the pinpoint formation, because the other one's pretty much useless. Now, I would recommend that you have all your skills to at least 3 in scanning in order to be able to do quick scanning. Anything lower than that, I just don't think you're going to be able to narrow down anomalies quick enough. And I could do this a little faster if I wanted to, which I probably will just for the sake of this. But as you can see, if I want to, I can scan this down. That was my second scan. I should be able to get it down right now because it's at, yeah, I think I can get it. Because it was at almost 30% when I did the 2 AU. So a good trick is don't go to the next AU down, skip 1. The only exception is if you have a low resolution, yeah, see, 3 scan, and sadly I have to do 1 more because it wasn't quite center. But no matter what, this is going to be 100%, even if I leave it at 50 AU because it's at 97. But I'll drop it down 1 more time just to absolutely make sure there's nothing that could go wrong. So as you see, that took me 4 scans in order to get down 1 signature. You can do this with combat probes. You can do this with anything, really. It's really simple. Like I said, you have to go to pinpoint, and you skip 2. You never just go down. You don't drop down from 8 to 4 to 2 to 1 to 0.5. It would take 50 freaking scans. The only exception to that on not dropping down by 2 is if you have a low resolution. If you have a low resolution scan and oh, sorry, I'm trying to. There we go. is you have a low resolution scan signature, so meaning it's lower bandwidth, it'll be harder to pick up to begin with, and you get the two dots that are adjacent from each other. Now, the higher you're pinpointing, the less that margin would be, so you probably could skip 2 if you have a small margin, but there are times where I've gotten superior sights or limited sleeper catches or anything like that, and they have 2 dots that are separated. I'm going to see if I can get that to happen. Now, I think these are the same bandwidth, so I don't think it's going to happen, but we will do one more scan for the sake of this video and see what happens. The reason I made this different than the video I made a couple years ago that has, 40,000 views, and I'm talking, is just because I think it gives a lot more explanation if I narrate through it. Some people might find it annoying, some people might find it helpful, but I just don't want to leave anything unnarrated because I want this explanation to be very in-depth and thorough. So as you see, first scan, 12%. I will be able to drop down to 2 AU because 12% gives me about a 1.5 AU variation on the dot. There are sites in which you can look at variations depending on your skill levels, but it's pretty much at my skill level, it's guaranteed that if I have this completely centered at 10% or above, 2 AU is going to guarantee me a higher resolution, and then I have to adjust 1 or 2 more times and it's scanned. The only exception is the catches. Okay, so this is actually a good example. So for some reason the variation was a little bit more, but it was very close. So if it's like this and it showed up on the bottom of the bubble, what I recommend doing is you align with the halfway point on the bubble. So here's the there's this halfway point, but halfway in between the bottom and that point, So then analyze again, and now I should have a higher resolution. Because the reason the bubble dropped down is it was closer to the bottom bubble, which if you look at it logically would mean that it's definitely not on the top side. So get as much on the bottom with still having most of the bubble in, and there we go. And it was exactly where I thought it would be. So that was my third scan. Here's my fourth scan. And I gotta, of course, center it, so I know I'm gonna get it. And I should now have a data site. Now, I will make a video about looting these and safety precautions that you should take. There's probably other videos out by now because EVE Online is a lot more popular of a game back when I used to make my videos. But as you see, there we go. That was 1, 2, 3 scans. And it's that simple. Quick scanning is easy as long as you have the skills. If you have really bad skills, I'd recommend, for example, I do this even though I have good skills, get a Sister's Core probe launcher. It's really expensive and a lot of people say don't get it. That or get the range finding array, which is a module. But if the only problem is you'd have to get a mobile D-pot and you have to switch out between your analyzers in order to have that extra strength. And you will need skills for that as well. So I think that is probably the end of the video. And you guys have any questions, ask them in the comments, any ways to improve my videos, or anything you think I did not cover. Thank you very much, and and fly safe.